let's welcome our guests from this evening. You may know them from their YouTube and podcast show, Climate Town. Please welcome Matt Nelson and Rollie Williams.
Hey! What's up? Thank you for your service. 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 Thank you for your service.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Pay your toll, please. Pay your toll. You two have to pay your toll. What is that?
It's liquid soap.
That counts. Great. Thank you. I'll use that. Nelson, Matt.
All right, here we go.
Nelson,
comma, Matt.
Matt. Thank you very much. So, first of all, you guys are regular Jay Leno's shaking everyone's hands out here. Now, you two run basically a media empire about climate change. Is that you have a podcast, YouTube, a newsletter. Clearly, it's a monopoly that needs to be broken up. And you, Rollie, we actually had you and your co-host, Nicole Conlon, on our first show about congestion pricing. So welcome back.
Thank you so much for being back. The only two-time guest on the Power Joker.
That is true.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, also, congratulations are in order, because between now and then, I know that you have gotten engaged.
Oh, that's true.
You recently engaged.
That's true. It was kind of a secret. No, I'm just joking. Okay. Thank you so much.
Who did you get engaged to? Mother Earth?
That was pretty sick. Sometimes I see the jokes written down there, and I'm like, this is going to kill. And it
Dude,
does.
that was written. That's sick.
Yeah, thank you. It was. I mean, I had an alt, but I think I went
What's
with...
the alt? Hang on.
Do you want to do the alt?
He's
You wanna
still
do the alt?
writing. He's got a pen.
All right,
more,
hey,
one
look,
more.
you want to
Get
do
the
the alt?
alt. Get the alt.
I heard you recently got engaged.
That's kind of a secret. I'm just joking. Yeah.
To whom? Greta Thunberg?
Yes. Yes. All right, now which one do we like more?
I think Mother Earth landed better. Okay.
Okay.
So, you also have a master's degree, Rollie, in climate science and policy.
This is correct.
What school was that from?
Colombia.
Okay, I guess that's a real school. And so, Matt, you are a writer, director, and researcher, sort of a jack of all trades.
Yep.
So my question is, how did you end up working on something so foolish as a climate podcast?
I have an engineering degree, and I worked as an engineer for a while, and then Rollie and I met doing comedy. We actually met in a UCB class. We both spent about $5,000 on improv classes.
At least.
At
least. Low estimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you two have basically dedicated your lives to the belief that if we do not act immediately on certain environmental issues, that the Earth will become unlivable to not only humans, but all life on the planet. So my question is, why is that important?
I think we have noticed a obvious and glaring problem, and that not that we're the first ones. We were actually the first and second ones to notice climate change was real. Thank you. That's the third. That's a third. Thank you so much. And I think we just realized like there's not a lot of media about this, and the media that's out there makes you want to unalive yourself. TikTokers out there.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make some comedy and information.
But Al Gore took care of that. Al Gore did it, right?
He did a good job.
Yeah. Good.
I got in a fight with someone in Prospect Park today about how I liked Al Gore, and they were like, I don't know. And I was like, first of all,
how many days in a given month do you say you get into an argument about someone about climate change?
it depends on the month because some months have different numbers of days.
That's true. So we are talking tonight about parking. I know you guys love to talk, so very briefly, how is parking a climate issue?
I mean, so about 15% of carbon emissions in the U.S. are cars, and so there's the emission side. I guess when we look at climate change, a lot of stuff is emissions based, and so there's sort of this focus on like how can we reduce emissions. And that is maybe driving less miles or electrifying cars. But I think there's a grander problem with the use of climate that isn't just carbon emissions. And so I think parking hits both like the emission side, but also just the question of like how are we using our space and are we making the best use of the environment that we have?
Okay, and one more time, why is the climate important? No, so you're saying that the cars themselves, because they're emitting, is that the?
That's how we say it.
Yeah, that is how you
We're
say
trying
it.
to make a change.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So there is a connection between needing to park and cars shitting out gas.
Yeah, I think people don't really. We've just been so ingrained by cars. I think the term is car-brained. That when you walk down the street and you see both sides of the street completely, ass to ankles cars, and you're like, it sort of seems normal because that's all we've ever known. But in reality, that's free city-owned space that we are letting cars have for free. And that's space that we all, technically, as residents of New York City, except for you fucking New Jersey. No, I'm just joking. We can choose how we allocate our space. And right now, we're giving it to more wealthy people who own cars in the city to park their park their cars. And it's just like it's a psychological thing that we need to break. And then it also becomes like a land use problem and a climate change, an emitting
Thank
problem.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
please use the correct term.
Presumably, if there were just there's less parking available, fewer spots, maybe like we'd have fewer cars, right? That's part of the argument.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Or just the roads would be packed with people who's like, where do I park? It would be an incredible 2 days, I think.
So, I mean, we talked about this a little bit in the monologue, but, you guys are talking about how parking is mostly free in New York outside of some metered spots, and there has been a push to get parking permitted in some places. Where do you two land on that issue?
I mean, the permit is kind of tough. So there's roughly 3 million public parking spaces in New York. About 80,000 are metered, so like 2.5%. And so, it's a very, very small chunk that are paid for. I think people have become accustomed to that. So when you bring in permitting, if you're going to buy or pay for a parking space in New York, you're probably going to pay $300, $500, maybe even $1,000 a month.
Pocket change.
There's a single parking space in Park Slope that's sold for $250,000, and they're still paying $500 a month for the services with the parking space. So when you bring in permitting, you need to look at the real cost and what it actually costs for parking. If you charge, say, $100 for a year, which seems like a lot when everything is free, you're sort of saying this is worth $100, and people are maybe upset at first, but then they accept that parking is worth $100 a year. But it's not. Like, that's not the real cost. And so the danger with permitting is that you go in at a low cost, and everyone is sort of then feeling that they're entitled to this parking because they're paying for it. But they're paying nothing remotely close to what the actual cost is.
So how much should a parking spot in New York cost, in your opinion?
Well, it's like 250 to 300 or 400 square feet. So I have a 500 square foot apartment.
Oh, wow, hey, whoa, good for you.
Something like $3,800 a month for.
Whoa.
So like, I think that's not a bad idea. I mean,
You think a parking spot in New York should cost $1 million a year?
Yes!
This is not. Now we're fighting. Now we're having an argument.
Now I gotta say, $1 million to you.
It's nothing.
Thank you very much.
It's nothing.
So pick a flag here, Robert
Well,
Moses.
I know to some people that might be a lot of money.
Oh, you know that. So
And
you have
I
empathy.
think people should be able to park their cars wherever they wish. We talked about getting a car on stage tonight. But that wasn't really in the cards, as it will. I mean, do you think there is a fundamental problem with the parking system in New York currently?
Yeah, I think there's a fundamental problem with parking the country over. Like, I think we just do not accurately price parking, and that's the fundamental problem. And New York City is like an incredible, dense urban area that could be so much easier to walk in and have better services and better public transportation, but we're like giving these critical arteries in the city over to the parked car, which is going to basically sit stationary for 98% of its day,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of New York, if you have old buildings, you're ending up with the same roadway that you had before cars existed. And so, there's multiple terms parking was used for, but one of them in D.C., they were trying to overhaul the use of the street space between houses, and they came up with the term parking to install parks in the street, essentially. So you'd have, like, sidewalk, park area, a carriage area in the middle, and then another park area, and another sidewalk. So the area where the cars are, that was parking, but it's a park.
Right.
And so that's sort of what we've given up.
That's a great trivia for everyone out here. That's where the term parking comes from a park, like a grassy park.
Yeah,
So
and then people just used to put their cars on them. I mean, you couldn't overnight park in New York City until the 1950s.
Right.
So they were parking cars, but you couldn't do it for more than 3 hours in the middle of the night. So they were supposed to basically, the assumption is that it's private. Disgusting.
Yeah.
The assumption that it's private cars, private parking, and then over time people just, cars overtook the city, and there was uproar for where are we going to put all these things, they're so expensive, and then you end up with public parking we have now, but that was not the norm when cars came around.
I will say the 3-hour parking law, in my opinion, was the worst law on the books in the 1950s. Now, I also was wondering what you were saying about parking. Is that why we why we drive on a
Fucking
parkway but
don't.
park on a driveway?
That is not written down for good reason, folks. I just want to clarify that Matt and I weren't like, Robert Moses, can we please come on your show and yell at you about parking for 45 minutes? But I'm so thrilled to get to do it because I can tell that you guys are into this, and I really do appreciate it, honestly. So thank you guys so much for being into parking. This is
Yeah, that's not exactly how I remember it. I remember, I think you called me in tears. You said,
We
"Please."
weren't crying, but we
something else.
That was
It
just
about
something else.
Yeah. You like, my YouTube channel's dying. I need the Robert Moses boost. That's what I remember. Now, I do have some questions about sort of the minutia of parking here, like things like alternate side parking. Is that just an excuse to hand out tickets, or does that actually do anything?
I think it probably is an excuse to hand out tickets. I actually don't know the psychology of who put that in place in the first place, but it certainly, when I was doing alternate side parking, I certainly did think that, like, when I find the person who invented this, I will murder them in cold blood. But I don't know. Do you have a...
No, I have no idea.
Great. Good.
It does create a fair amount of emissions, right? Like, the people in a lot of neighborhoods basically just, like, circle while street cleaning's going on so they can repark. Or they go and they move over one lane and they just sit there with their car running and then they just move back. So even, like, the goal, which is clean the street, I guess.
My street's dirty as
which
hell.
is
I don't
nice.
know if
That's
they do
nice.
it.
It's a nice goal. It's a nice goal, but like it does add to the emissions of private vehicles in the city.
For sure. I think it's just sort of like a reasonable maintenance. Like the city is maintaining public space for private cars, right? So you're having people that need this space to put their car somewhere. If you had the same amount of cars and you didn't have public space, they'd have to put it somewhere. But the city gives away that space, but then they have to maintain it. It's still the city running it. So in terms of like cleaning the street, that is on the city. Right? And so we just all pay for that, even though it's for private infrastructure. So it'd be the same as if like you then just took the sidewalks and put cars up on the sidewalks. Like the city's gonna have to deal with that. We've just gotten so used to giving the space away that we deal with the strangeness of giving this public car space or private car space to or public space to private car owners.
Well, look, I famously think cars deserve the best treatment possible. I did literally take away a lot of the coastline here in New York, a lot of the river line, and built highways there so that people used to be able to live near the water. Well, because of me, that doesn't happen. That's a real thing. So you're welcome to the cars. Now, speaking of idling, and we are talking about emissions, and you were on our first show, which is about congestion pricing. So it has been over, almost like a year and a half of congestion pricing. So that maybe we talk about that a little bit. I mean, in your opinions, has it been successful?
Yeah, I think it's just mathematically, it was always going to be successful. It was just like, we're going to just do 101 supply and demand, and we're going to charge cars a little more to drive into the most congested roads in all of America. And we did it. We charged them, and it made $560 million. And it... Thank you.
I mean, we love tolls.
I actually have way more liquid soap in my pocket.
Wait, did you come from a hospital? Why do you have so much liquid soap?
What, do you want my life story, man? Yeah, I got liquid soap in my pocket, and I got a lot of bags of it, and I got to move them.
So you had an argument with someone in the park.
That's right.
Loaded your pocket.
He tried to wash them.
Yeah, then
They
you tried to wash
freak
your
out.
hands. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I guess the theory in congestion pricing is that it would help with emissions and keep cars out of Manhattan. I guess that has been proven true. Do you think there is room to go even further with that policy?
Yeah, I mean, the goal of congestion pricing, which I think is like, in my opinion, was not. I think there's some challenges of how it's rolled out in New York, and so what you want is a transformation of society, right? So we've built this system where everyone can have their cars, and we subsidize roads, we subsidize parking, we have all this stuff that's given away for free, and it makes it a really good deal to drive, and so a lot of people drive because of that. But with congestion pricing, you're starting to more accurately price the infrastructure and the space that's used. And so then less people are going to drive, but you do want to replace that with something that works for people instead of driving, right? So you want to have better buses, better subways, more walkability. You want to take back some of that parking space that was given away or some of that road space that was given away. And so I think the challenge for New York is, so it's been good. There's like 10% less cars entering the congestion zone. Bus and subway ridership is up 10%. So there's a lot of good things, but you want to move to phase 2, which is establishing a new normal for New York City. And that's where probably congestion pricing is rolled out to fund the changes to the subway. And that is like leaves a gap where you have this change in the pricing of driving into the zone, but you're waiting on the money to improve the subway and improve the infrastructure. So there's just a little bit of like a turn where versus like London where they're like, day one, more buses are on the road. Day one, they're making improvements to the system, and so they're more meeting that gap earlier. New York is going to have a little gap for a little bit, and we all have to sort of demand the money is used well to make the subway better so we reach a new normal.
Well, we also, you can't compare. All right, yeah. Sure. You're not giving me applause. Now look, how can we compare our roadways to London? They drive on the other side. Not written down.
That was really good. That was really good. Write that down.
Thank you.
Keep it.
Say it every show.
Say
They love it.
show.
Keep it.
So there has been a push. I mean, what you were saying leads into this next question. There has been a push by Upper Manhattan City Council member Mark Levine to pilot again. He is piloting the residential parking permits. Yes, borough president. Excuse me. And more people are parking in neighborhoods just above the congestion zone and getting on the train. Now, they have no hard evidence of this, but it makes complete sense to save $3 and spend an extra hour of your day commuting. Do you think this claim has any legs?
Yeah, I think probably the people who are doing that are the same people who were in the diner that Kathy Hochul was talking to when they're just like, I want to drive my car from New Jersey to Times Square to eat at a diner for lunch. And it's like, did you really talk to that person, Kathy Hochul?
Those people exist. That's a normal American. Who doesn't want to do exactly that? You're driving into Manhattan, beautiful Manhattan. You're going to the best place in the world, Times Square.
Now, I think it was also announced this week a new effort, right? Something like the Department of Curb Management.
Curb management,
right?
yes.
Could you tell people a little bit about, like, what curb management might mean if that's actually something we focus on?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, I guess part of Shakira Law is curb management. So
I'm sorry. Did you say Shakira Law?
Yeah, you can't.
yeah.
I think Shakira Law is that hips must always tell the truth.
I have never seen that man's hips tell a lie, Robert Moses.
I think you might be talking about Sharia law.
I think I would pronounce it Sharia if I wasn't doing a hilarious joke where I said Shakira.
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Remember, we talked about this backstage. If you're doing a joke, pull on your ear. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, as part of that, Zoran started the Department of Curb Management, which is just like step one to looking at how we utilize the curbs a little bit better, which is like, oh, could we maybe go back to covered dining, what do we call them?
Outdoor dining?
Outdoor dining.
Outdoor dining?
Covered
Dining.
dining.
Curbside
I mean,
dining.
Sorry,
yeah,
I really fucked that up for cool applause, so thank you very much. I appreciate that.
the
You're
dining space thing
carrying
is
me.
crazy because I mean the curb management stuff. It's like this is city space. You have to manage it.
Yep.
You have to manage it. And you have to figure out what you want to do with it. What is the best use of this space? It is our space. It's the city space. And so the office is just looking at what they're going to do with it. I don't know what they're going to do, But even just investigating it makes a ton of sense because it's a ridiculous amount of space.
Yeah.
So when you look at like dining, outdoor dining, that's 9,000 parking spaces out of 3 million.
That's too many.
And that's uproar, right?
That's too many,
Yeah.
too many. I
So-
will park my car in your appetizers.
Yeah.
I will not be afraid to do that.
There's
So-
like 6,300 miles of curb space in New York City. Like it's like it just crisscrosses and builds up so many miles. And like, how do we use that to make delivery safe and do proper trash management and trash disposal, and also be able to eat at the Five Guys outside by the trash cans?
The Five Guys, they have a great outdoor dining area at Five Guys. They throw peanuts on the ground.
But I feel like for some of this stuff, it's looked at as progressive, which is kind of insane because like this is a huge amount of space. You want someone to manage it thoughtfully.
Yeah.
Like that's not really that progressive. That's completely irrational.
Well, I will also say this also leads into you get resistance over things like universal daylighting, which Gersh Kunstman talked about.
Gersh! Give it up for
When he was a
Gersh!
guest on our show.
You got Gersh!
No, to get out of here. Now to get out of here. He'll take any applause. Yes, it seems like any time you want to give up any sort of parking spaces, there is resistance here in New York.
Which, I mean, honestly makes sense. Like, if you are used to not paying anything for something, and then you have to suddenly pay for it, you're gonna freak the fuck out. And it's everybody does it. It's psychological. I totally understand it. It's just one of the things we have to just take in the teeth to make a better city.
Quick question: do you own a car?
I do own a car.
Oh! Wow!
It's a plug-in hybrid Toyota Prius.
Oh, okay.
But it runs on blood.
Where do you park?
I pay for parking.
Wow.
Okay, the crowd's back on his side.
$400 a month. That's the most confused reaction the crowd is. They're like, how do I should feel something about this. I know that.
Rollie, I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect that answer.
I know. I desperately want to get rid of it. My fiance won't let me.
Well.
And she is the boss.
Well, I guess she is the boss when she's Greta Thunberg. All right.
Yes!
Yes!
Also-
Yes!
That's why you write them down, folks.
From
So you can
downtown!
remember them for later.
So we do have
Perfect.
a call. We do have a thing we do on the show every month, a call to action. You guys suggested bringing some awareness to something called the Parking Reform Network, which is right here. Some of you people already know about. If you guys maybe want to just do the elevator pitch on this.
I think this QR code speaks for itself, you know?
QR code speaks for itself. This is they support activists and professionals working in any discipline or policy area impacted by car parking. It literally says that right there. So yeah, you guys might want to check this out. If
You can donate. You can subscribe to their newsletter.
Yes.
Do anything to support them. Really, check out what they're doing.
Yes, if you love to hug a tree, give this website a hug.